Kathleen.
And I'm Kristyn, and this is the Tea and Yarn Cakes podcast, episode 1.
We're coming to you from lovely Atlanta, Georgia, where we make all of the things. I'm the yarn dyer behind Republica Unicornia Yarns. You can find me on social media, mainly on the Instagrams, at Republica_Unicornia_yarns.
And I am at Shireside Fibers on Instagram. We will put links in the down bar,
so you don't have to remember any of this. We are so glad that you're joining us as we just talk about all of the things that we've been making and eat snacks and drink tea, because that is what we do.
Yes. This will be a predominantly knitting podcast, although we do bake and other crafts may appear. We are filming in my lovely home with my menagerie, so more than one of them may also appear.
So, you want to just jump in?
Yes. We figured, since this was our first podcast, that we would get started with how we met, which has been
like 9 years?
Probably about 9 years. Kathleen was working at a church in the Atlanta area with my mother, and my mother adored her and said that I had to meet her, that we were going to be the best of friends, and she was right.
She was correct, and we bonded over our shared love of baking and cooking all of the things, and we like all the same stuff. And then Kristyn got really into knitting and then took me along for the ride.
Yes, I've been knitting since I was about 16. So I guess we're more than half my life now. And you've been an avid crocheter for a long time. We've gone down many crafty rabbit holes. In fact, we both...
That was one. Do you remember when we melted the crayons? When we glued the crayons,
yes,
and we melted them?
We did lots of craft projects working in churches. I actually led craft camps for kids, which was really fun, and cooking camps.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done many things together. And
so I want to hear your story. I mean, I know your story, but the internet does not know your story.
My crafting story. I was raised by a mother who is an avid DIYer and crafter, and so I grew up doing all sorts of things. This is Susie, and this is Lemon. So my father is very artsy as well. He is a designer. He does event design, and he is a chef. And so I grew up in an artsy household, and I started knitting in high school because a friend of mine wanted a rainbow scarf, like a pride scarf, and we couldn't find one anywhere. And so I said, well, I will knit you one. And he asked if I knew how to knit, and I said I would learn. And it began a love affair from there. So I've been knitting and doing all sorts of things ever since. And your story?
I did not grow up in an artsy household. I grew up with engineer parents, and I was the weird kid. But making stuff was always a huge part of my life. My mom is an amazing cook, and I learned how to cook at a really young age. And there were always, like, my family was always great about giving me craft supplies, and I always wanted to figure out how stuff worked. And I learned how to crochet. My grandmother was an avid crocheter, but she crocheted one thing, which I cannot find a pattern for. I would love to. So if anybody knows about these, please let us know. She crocheted foot warmers, which were like slipper sock things, but it was like the 70s and the 80s, so they were like bright orange acrylic yarn. But everybody got a pair of foot warmers for like every holiday. I think my mom still has a pair in the cedar chest. But she was always crocheting, and she taught me how to crochet when I was about 11 or 12, and I never really got into it, but I knew how to do it. And I was working years later, I was working a job I didn't really like, and so I started crocheting, and I crocheted a bunch of blankets and decided that finally I was going to teach myself how to knit. And so I did, with the help of YouTube and Kristyn enabling me. She had me cabling on my second project. I made your normal first project scarf, and Kristyn and I found a tea cozy pattern that I wanted, and Kristyn was like, oh, it's fine. It was like, you like cabled and then you mattress seamed it together. It was so beyond my...
And you did great.
I did, because
Absolutely
I didn't
fabulous.
know to be afraid.
Well, to be fair, she had crocheted something like 5 blankets in a month, so...
Because I am a crazy person.
Yeah.
But I really I have been through like if it involves a needle, I have done it. And so it wasn't until I found knitting that I really felt like I found my thing. And so I had also done a lot of fabric dyeing. And so once I started getting really into knitting and buying hand-dyed yarn, I was like, well, it can't be that different than fabric dyeing. So I started dyeing yarn, which, like it does, it led to me starting a business as a hand dyer. So that is one of the things that I do with my time. So there will be shameless self-promotion because, you know, I'm just like that. So sorry about that. If you're not into that, we will put it at the end so you can just, you know, go and do something else and not look at me showing off my yarn. So that's around.
Well, and I was also in the midst of I was in the very beginning stages of starting a hand-dyed yarn company because we have dyed a lot together, but I decided to grow a human instead, and so that is permanently on hold for the time being. But we also moved and bought a house and have been really, really busy, and so I'm hoping that one day, hopefully one day not in the far off future, that my garage will be my studio. So we will have sister shops. We love and support each other, and so.
Also, Kristyn is an amazing designer of things and you can like look at stuff and be like, I'm gonna figure out how this works. So I am guessing there are gonna be some really fabulous pattern designs.
Yes, there definitely are pattern designs in the works. Since I was knitting at a time when, while the internet existed, it wasn't what it is today. I didn't really have access to patterns as a teenager, and so I just figured out how to do it. So, so I have plenty of experience just making something happen. So I do have lots of stuff that I will try to get on the needles and designed hopefully here shortly, probably before the yarn business. So with that said, we have recent finished objects, we have current works in progress, and a little yarn, and we are eating Kathleen's homemade vanilla bean scones, and we are drinking Scottish breakfast with cream and sugar because we're fussy like that.
So fussy.
So, before we get into our recent FOs and our current works in progress, we also wanted to share with you our favorite ever knits. Since this is a first episode and you're getting to know us, it seemed appropriate. So, you brought your favorite.
I did.
Which is also
recent.
Is a
recent FO because I am multitasking. This is, let me use the front. This is the Christmas in July sweater by Tanis Fiber Arts. It is a colorwork yoke that uses, I think the pattern calls for 12 colors. I used 10. So it's a really fun, and it's a shallow yoke. It's super cute on. And it's a combination of my hand-dyed yarn and some bits and bobs. I think there's some Malabrigo in here. Most of it's mine. It's a lot of the skeins that I have dyed but haven't sold because that's what ends up in my stash. And the main color is a kettle-dyed platinum that I did. I love this sweater so much. Because it's a fingering weight sweater, it's lightweight, but it's still really cozy and warm. Oh, also it is knit out of Blueface Leicester, which is, if you know anything about my yarn, is probably my preferred base. Blueface Leicester is a British sheep breed, and it's a little sheepier and a little woollier than merino, but it's still really soft. And anyway, I'm just obsessed with this sweater, and I will probably be wearing it nonstop for the next few months.
And my favorite, my most proud knit, if I can get Lemon's little hiney off of it, is my Marled Magic Shawl. I knit this last fall, and I love it. It's huge, as you can see. I knit the large size, although I did not have enough yarn to make these wings as large as they're supposed to be, so it's kind of a medium size. But it was a joy to knit. I really enjoyed the way the pattern is written as a suggestion. He, you know, lets you play with color and make suggestions about when to do things, but it's really up to you, and I really enjoyed that. It felt like a adventure and a creative outlet in a way that not all knitting is. I mean, all knitting is a creative outlet, but this was a little different. And it was a birthday present to myself last year, so I went online and I picked out a wide range of yarns, of several different mini skein sets and 2 different colors of sparkling mohair. And
like you do.
Yes, like one does. And so I really had like a beautiful palette to work from. I did not stash bust with it, but it allowed me to be really thoughtful about what I chose to put in it. And so I felt like all of the colors really represented me. I have favorite sections like this brioche, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm very proud of it.
Every time she brings it out, I want to steal it. It is like, she used a lot of single plies, didn't you?
I
did.
so
soft.
Mm-hmm.
It's just magical.
Yeah, there's a Malabrigo single ply in there that's in a lot of different sections, and it turned out really nice. My husband is probably as obsessed with it as I am, which is pretty fantastic. So that's definitely the one I'm most proud of. And then
I showed one of my recent FOs, and I'm wearing another one. This is, and it technically isn't finished because I didn't sew the buttons on because I keep wearing it. This is the Carbeth Cardigan by Kate Davies. And it is knit in, it is the Malabrigo chunky base, I think, but I hand dyed it. So someone I knew had a bunch of undyed Malabrigo and it ended up in my possession, and so I dyed myself. So this is my colorway. It's called Kernel Mustard, and it's kind of a tonal mustardy. I was afraid I was going to look like Big Bird. It doesn't so much that it's done.
No,
but
it has a chartreusey vibe.
Yes, it does, intentionally. But I was a little afraid it was going to be the Big Bird sweater. This pattern was very well written. I wanted the sweater so bad. I hate knitting with chunky yarn. I hate it so much. My hands, I knit with a lot of fingering weight yarn. I'm a sock knitter. That's what I do. And the chunky weight, I feel like the hassle doesn't make up for how much quicker it goes. So I finished the sweater in like 2 weeks, but it was 2 painful weeks.
Oh, I love chunky knits.
Oh.
They're so much fun.
I like hats. Hats are fun. I think towels would be fun, but oh my gosh, the sweater. But one thing I'm really proud of is I learned how to magic loop, and I didn't swear that much at it. I did realize I've been on a sweater knitting kick. This is the 6th sweater I've knit this year. It does not hurt that I'm the size of a 12-year-old boy. Like, I think if I was a normal person with like grown-up boobs, I think I would probably not enjoy knitting sweaters as much as I do, but I'm not. So anyway, I figured out that I will not knit sleeves on DPNs, like I just won't do it. And I usually knit my sleeves on 12-inch circulars. The Chiagu ones are my favorites. They're a little bit longer than obviously than a 9 or 10-inch ones, and they're comfortable and I love them, but this used a size 10.5 needle because of the yarn, and they don't make smaller circulars in that size. So I had to suck it up and magic loop, and it was okay. I'm not going to be changing my sock knitting anytime soon, but I did it and I was very proud of myself. This sweater is so warm. It is like the chunky thing. Like, it's already pilling because I won't take it off. Like, I wear it all the time. It's more like a jacket, honestly. And it's warm and cozy, and oh my gosh, you have all of the animals in your lap.
Yes, this is Georgette. She has been with me since I was 19. I tell people she's my soulmate. She is one of the sweetest and most obnoxious cats in the whole world.
She's amazing. She'll like get up in your face and like
she will
roll all over you.
Put her nose up your nostrils and her head in your mouth because there's no amount of proximity is ever close enough for her. So, but she's a sweet girl.
Do you want me to hand you finish? So you
no,
don't disturb the cuteness?
My most recent finished object, and it's not quite finished, is Baby Romper for the baby. I was going to sew the buttons on so it would be done today, but it's still slightly damp, so I'm gonna leave that. But this is the Tiddelibom Braided Romper. It is, I believe, a Norwegian pattern, but they have a handful of their patterns are also in English. I wish more of them were in English because they're so precious. But so it's moss stitch, and it is cables, and it is precious. Alright, so anyway, it is moss stitch, there's cables, it is quite beautiful. I did alter the pattern. It's supposed to be seamed at the bottom. You're supposed to Kitchener stitch the bottom, and I didn't want to have to take it all the way off in order to change a diaper. So I bought buttons for the bottom and I put buttonholes in for that. And then the other thing is the straps were supposed to be moss stitch, and I really didn't like the way they looked. And so I did seed stitch with a selvage edge, which is much cleaner. And I also put buttonholes on both sides so that they can be adjustable. So I'm gonna put little clear buttons on the insides, on the back, so that they can adjust a little and hopefully grow with the baby, because it's clearly a newborn size and they won't be able to wear it for very long no matter what. But I was hoping to extend the life a little bit. So I love this. It was knit out of Quince & Co. in their Phoebe base, and I don't remember the colorway, but I can look it up. So that is my most recent FO, and I don't have any others because I have been moving and fixing our house.
But you've been casting on a lot of things.
I have, well
not
me.
a lot. For the last.
For me. I am a monogamous knitter. If I want something, I knit it, and I knit it to completion. And if I don't knit it to completion, then it goes into hibernation to never be seen again, which I have a lot of those projects as well. But I uncharacteristically cast on 2 things this week and have every intention of knitting back and forth between them. So,
do you want to talk about this?
Sure. The first thing I cast on was, well, actually, not this week. Last week, or technically months ago, I cast on the Rock Creek sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and let's just say it did not go well. I'm knitting with Wool of the Andes Superwash. It's supposed to be a worsted weight, and I disagree. It's really more of a DK. So my gauge was way off, and I attempted to solve the problems multiple times that I was having, and it just wasn't working. So I fragged the whole project and said, to hell with it, and I cast on a new sweater this week. So I cast on the Tarian sweater by Jennifer Woods. It is quite lovely. It is a smocked yoke. So I don't know if you can see that, but the yoke is twisted rib, and it's smocked, and it's really beautiful. It's working pretty well with this yarn. I do like it a lot. This is the Cadet colorway. I'm really enjoying it. It's not difficult, although it is mildly tedious, and the fabric that the smocking creates is very thick, which is fine. But I felt like that I needed something that was kind of a palette cleanser in between to take breaks from this, because it's not fast. Like it goes a little bit slowly, and it's not as easy. You like the pattern isn't difficult to follow, but you have to follow it. And I don't know, I needed something that was slightly more brainless and easy on the hands to just go back and forth between. So yesterday I cast on a shawl, which I can show, or you can, do you want to show yours?
Sure.
Do you have more than one?
Yes. I usually, the funny thing is I'm usually, like, I'm not a monogamous knitter. I'm like, I have like a side piece, but just one. So I try to always have like a more complicated project, bigger project, so a shawl or a sweater, never at the same time. And then I always keep socks around. And I have been knitting so many sweaters. I think I finished my Zweig in July, and I knit the Hero by Julia Farlow Clay. Is that her name? I can't remember. I think that's her last name. It's great. It's like a worsted weight colorwork sweater. And then I knit Christmas in July, and then I knit this one. So I have finished 4 sweaters, and like I'm going to start, I'll talk about this in a little bit, but I'm starting my mom's Christmas sweater, and I knew that if I immediately started a Christmas sweater, I was not going to finish the Christmas sweater. So I do whatever I need to do when I need a palette cleanser. I cast on a Stephen West pattern. Seriously, it's like every time I'm bored with my knitting, I just kind of find something wacky and wonderful and Stephen West. And because I have been totally contemplating stealing Kristyn's Marled Magic shawl for so long, I decided it was time to start my own. So it's a mess because it's like ends everywhere and all kinds of business, and I'm just kind of a hot mess.
But it's beautiful.
But here it is. So the brioche section, do I need to talk about the yarns?
There's a lot of yarns.
I will say the couple, like 2 of my favorites in here are from On the Round. Rachel is a dyer out of Maine, and I'm obsessed with her yarn. It's beautiful. She uses US milled bases, and they're a little more rustic than your kind of, they're merino, but they're rustic. They're amazing. So shout out to that. So yeah, it's a lot of shawl, and you know what? I just want to wear a blanket all the time, and so this totally fits the bill. So this is the part I'm working on now. I don't know if y'all can see. It is awkward. Look, oh gosh, this is so awkward. It's a seed stitch section, and it's got a rainbow gradient because I'm obsessed with rainbows. So that's what's going on here, and I'm so enjoying it. So I think I have another 2 sections, I think, and then the I-cord edging. Is that right?
Yes. Once you finish this, you'll do the 2 winged sections and then the I-cord. And
then tassels and braids and all kinds of fun stuff. And I cannot wait to wear it. I love it so much. It's so my colors, kind of jewel tone business going on. Oh, this was the big thing on this project, is I've been opposed to mohair for no good reason other than like the halo thing doesn't really do it for me. But I have to say I have changed a little bit after doing this. I'm not going to be knitting everything in mohair, but held double with something, I'm really liking it.
Well, and since doing this, you've already gone out and bought more yoke.
I did. So I received the mohair in this section from my amazing fiber share partner from this last go around, Stacy, who is amazing, and I love her. Hi, Stacy. So she sent me mohair because I said I'd never knit with it, and so I was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna start the shawl, and I have mohair. And then I liked it, and so I bought mohair. So the mohair in this section, it does not look crazy. It is actually like highlighter yellow from Neighborhood Fiber Company out of Baltimore, one of my favorite yarn folks. So that's the Marled Magic, and it has just been such a delight. Like, it's just such a fun and wacky, like, not serious, lots of construction. It's in pieces so you don't get bored. I love that.
Yes.
Instead of knitting like one, like the thing about shawls is like, especially if they grow, by the time you're on that, like those last rows, it's like 9,000 stitches on the needle, and you just want to gouge your eyes out with your knitting needles. So
it was a joy.
It is an absolute joy. And as always, like Stephen West is just a fabulous mad scientist and amazing construction, and this is like my 3rd or 4th shawl, and I've loved all of them. So yeah, anyway, I'm enjoying it. I can't start, like if it's early in the day, I can't start knitting on it because I will not stop. So I have to control myself. Well, so that's my big one.
The siege stitch section that you're on right now, I felt like was the one that took the longest.
Yes. The rainbow helps.
Yes. And I did a fade on mine, which helped because it kept me interested.
Yes.
But of all of them, that one takes the longest. So the fact that you're tearing through it, you'll be done in no time.
It also is like, it was one of those projects that I'm really glad I waited as long to knit as I did. We were talking about this because I have like obscene amounts of leftover yarns because I'm a sock knitter, and y'all, I knit a lot, and so I have just tons of colors, and so I could do exactly what I wanted to do without, I bought mohair, but I have it, and I think I'm going to buy some for the, not mohair, but some gold, like a gold color for the edging, but I didn't buy yarn. This was like totally from stash, and so it's a really good way to use up all of those bits and bobs that are left over. So that's it.
That is that. Oh, here, let me put this back. I have my Tarian sweater in a project bag made by Kathleen. In fact, both of my project bags today are made by Kathleen. So I have my Deathly Hallows one. And then yesterday, my cast on, also made by Kathleen.
This is like an early iteration.
Yes, she doesn't do the drawstring bags anymore, but you can buy her triangle bags and some zipper
Yeah, and I'll show a zipper one. Shameless self-promotion moment one.
Yes. You can buy them in her shop. So I cast on yesterday the Love You Baby shawl by Susanne Sommers.
And you have to tell me about the yarn because I haven't heard about it, and I need to hear about it.
And I do know the yarn, which is quite tangled right now. But as you can see, I haven't gotten very far. This is the front. This is the right side. It is a Madeline Tosh, I think it's Tosh Light is their singles base, if I remember correctly, and it is in Fragile. So it is a cream with pastel, peach, and mint, and then it has little pops of bright speckles that are, it's not very highly speckled, which I like. So, I mean, I like highly speckled too, but for this particular shawl, I think it's going to be really nice. I wanted it to be a really light, kind of easy shawl to go with stuff. I wear my Marled Magic constantly, but it is loud.
So you need to squish your brioche.
And then the second color I'm using, which is all messed up, is the Grand Budapest Redux by Republic of Wool. So it is a blush pink with a caramely mustard.
That mustard is everything.
And like, it's highly speckled. So it's you know, on the back here, and it'll be the seed stitch section of the shawl. And then I decided that my third color would be this Madeline Tosh here. This is how it's the Merino Light is their single space. Yeah, so this is in the Madeline Tosh Scout, which is just a kind of dusty rose blush color. It's very pretty. I used it in my Half Moon Oracle shawl.
Oh, that's why it looks familiar. I was like, that looks familiar. Yes. That's why.
And so I had this left over. I don't have quite enough yarn for the pattern. So, but I really wanted to use it. And so I went down 2 needle sizes. I figured if it's a little smaller, that's fine. And I had already made my peace with the fact that the I-cord bind off will likely be in a different thing. I mean, I'll have enough of this probably. So I might use this with something else. I have a gray in the Madeleine Tosh that I was thinking about using, or maybe even a like chocolatey brown. I don't really mind if it's a different color. I think it'll be lovely. I like, you know, big, bold I-cord bind-offs, and it's not going to be a very bold shawl, so I think it'll be fine.
If you wanted to get totally crazy, because you know me, you could do like a chartreusey, like a light.
I thought about it. I even thought about putting blue in it, because there's blue speckles in the Grand Budapest. But I figured that once I get past this brioche section and I see it with the seed stitch, which will be in the Grand Budapest, and I can see that scout in there, that I can make a better decision. So it's not something I have to decide right now. But I just needed something easy. And I don't do easy well. Like
You get bored.
I get bored.
So bored.
I get really bored. I can't stand just a whole bunch of garter or a whole bunch of stockinette, because it makes me go insane. And so for me, this was easy. Like, this is as easy as I wanted it to be. It's brioche. It has some decreases, it has increases, but I don't have to pay a lot of attention to what I'm doing, so that worked really well for me. Now, that being said, I'm going to chalk this up to pregnancy brain, because it's been really bad this pregnancy, but there have been some mistakes. In fact, last night I was working on it and I knit like 4 rows past where I was supposed to make a decrease, and had to frog a whole bunch of it. And then I even screwed up the you know, repair work that I was doing, which I'm normally really good at repairing.
Oh my gosh,
brioche.
just Kristyn is the queen of fixing brioche.
And I just like, I couldn't figure it out. So I made it look good on the front, but this is my son's hand that's poking into the screen, bringing me my favorite flavor of fruit snacks.
Is it the orange one? Is your favorite an orange flavor fruit snack?
No, it is strawberry.
Oh, okay, good. I loved orange. I was gonna say, I don't think I know who you are anymore.
No. But so I made it look good on the front. The back doesn't look so great, but I'm okay with it. I also have like some really intensely strange gauge stuff that's happening at the beginning, and that's all right with me too. This pregnancy was very much wanted and very much unexpected. My husband had had a vasectomy reversal almost 3 years ago, and well, it has been 3 years now. And so I had given up hope, and so I just figured that I can look back on this project and any imperfections that's in it due to my pregnancy brain fondly as, you know, something that I did during this time that was so special. So it is what it is. It is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I'm very excited about it. It'll be my first shawl project that's really this dainty. I mean, like, I have dainty lace shawls, but they're not dainty colors. So this will be fun. It'll be a new piece of my wardrobe that is unlike any other. So that's all I'm working on.
Can I just talk about how I am blown away by people who can dye subtle colors? Like, all of these indie dyers who do, like, beautiful stuff. Like, I swear, I'm like, I'm going to dye something subdued, and then it's, like, neon yellow. Like, no matter what I do, like, everything is saturated. I'm looking at that, I'm like, it's so beautiful. Like,
It's just your personality.
It like comes out. Like I can't. I try, and it's like nope, still crazy. And on that note, oh my gosh, y'all, if you are not into socks, I am so sorry because this is going to be really boring. Let's see what pair of socks these are. Oh, these are fun. So these are. I like to keep a pair of vanilla socks going. I always keep, like I said, a pair of plain socks, at least a pair. And my mom is really into dishcloths. Like I could knit anything, and like I dye my own yarn. I can knit gorgeous, lovely, fancy things for her. And she wants cotton dishcloths made from $1.99 yarn from Hobby Lobby. So I keep those. I hate knitting them, but I love her. So anyway, so I like to keep something. So I was going somewhere and needed like a vanilla sock. And so that's what it was. I was having a really bad day and I like could not handle any kind of difficult knitting. And so I cast on a vanilla sock. This yarn, oh gosh, I just feel like I'm super awkward. Hello internet. The yarn is Brazen Stitcheries, Whiz Bangs colorway on their paparazzi base, I think. They're awesome. They're fabulous. It's like a subdued rainbow, which is so my jam, and also it's stellina. So my kind of standard sock thing is I always knit them on a size 0 because I like a little tighter gauge. This looks like I'm magic looping. It's not. It's because I ran out of needles and had to transfer them. So it's a 64 stitch cast on. This is Twisted Rib. I always do an Eye of Partridge heel because they're fun. I'm a top down heel flap and gusset sock knitter. I refuse to learn how to knit toe up socks. I'm just stubborn. So anyway, so that's going on. These are just kind of like if I'm in the car, like standing in line or whatever, I just put some rows on these. I get really motion sick, but I figured out I can knit stockinette in the round in the car, which has changed my life.
I love knitting in the car.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't do, I mean, I can't look at anything, but I can just go like, they just like look out the window and go like that. And I've been bored in the car, right, my entire life because I get nauseous doing anything else. So very exciting.
I love it. It's like my favorite thing. I used to read in the car when I was a kid, but I can't really read in the car now as an adult because it's rude. And I have this wonderful husband that will pretty much drive me everywhere. I very rarely drive if we're going somewhere because he knows that I don't like it, particularly here in the Atlanta area. I hate the Atlanta drivers so much. They're horrible people. And so he pretty much drives us everywhere. And so I knit in the car all the time, and it's my favorite.
I love that about you. I can't do it. Also more shameless self-promotion. God, so awkward. So this is one of my project bags. These are my sock size project bags. They're pyramid bags. So this one is a very hungry caterpillar. It also has like cat hair and mohair all over it because I'm a professional. Did you have more whips or?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But while you're promoting,
while I'm shamelessly self-promoting.
Well, she's also selling these lovely pins in her shop. These needles kill fascists. And
okay, let me tell this. I have to tell the whole story. So the folk singer Woody Guthrie had a sign on his guitar that said "This machine kills fascists," which came from, I think it was World War I. Tanks had signs that said "This machine kills fascists," and Woody Guthrie said, "Well, my guitar is my machine." So in light of everything that is happening in our world and what I see as the very troubling rise of fascism, see, you come here for knitting, you get politics. Literally my whole life right there. So anyway, so I had these designed and they have, because I have just been blown away by how knitting has made me a braver and kinder and stronger person and how amazing this community is.
It is a really loving, wonderful community. And
so anyway, so I had these pins designed and they make me laugh hysterically. 15% of the proceeds go to the Southern Poverty Law Center so they can do things like kneecap fascists through the legal system. So that's what's happening.
And the ball of yarn is sparkly.
It is. And okay, shout out to my amazing, amazing friend Amanda, who is totally watching this because she does, who does all of the graphic design work for Republica Unicornia, who is an amazing human being. She designed these, and she designed the yarn ball to be the same color as the pussy hats.
Yes.
So, intentional. She's amazing.
Which,
Do you have it?
Kathleen
I didn't bring them.
Kathleen has also been knitting little pussy hat ornaments.
There's just a lot of rage knitting happening lately.
So we each have little pussy hat ornaments for our Christmas tree this year, and I had one. So
I made her weave in the ends. That's the kind of friend that I am. I knit her something and I'm like, you weave in the ends.
It made me feel like I was a part of it. I liked it. So
yes, that was intentional, clearly.
So I weaved in the ends, and I made a little loop so it will hang really nice. But we'll have to get a little picture of them at some point and show you, because they're super duper cute.
They're also super, super fast and really good when you're, rage knitting and watching C-SPAN.
Yes, and, commemorating women's rights is important, so.
So more socks, and on that note, more socks. Another project bag. I am obsessed with this fabric. It has squirrels on it, and they are mustard. This is designed,
it matches your sweater.
And it matches my sweater. I'm so boring. So anyway, another project bag. I really do, like, as a sock knitter, I wanted a bag that was portable, so they have a wrist strap, because I walk and knit. I can't, I can't, like, do much, but I can do stockinette in the round while I walk. This is a half-finished object, because I have a sock. So this is and it's not a sock blocker, so it's going to look like really small because it's got cables. It looks all funky. I own sock blockers now. Did you know that? I am fancy and official. But
I own sock blockers too, but I don't use them for sock blocking. I put pretty socks on them and I hang them on the walls.
I love that. I use mine for shows, like as samples. Also, like, I am not precious about my socks. I wash them all in the washing machine. I air dry them, but I wash them all in the washing machine. Anyway, this is
very brave.
There's more where that came from. So this is the basic cabled sock pattern by Winwick Mum, who taught me how to knit socks. She has, like, if anyone has ever asked me on Instagram about sock stuff, I, like, always reference her, because her pattern, her basic sock pattern is amazing. It gives you how to do a vanilla sock top down with every method you can imagine with photos. Like, I had been knitting for like 3 months before I knit my first sock because of her tutorial.
And then she knit like 10 socks in a day.
I did not.
It felt like it.
I do really like sock knitting. So these are going to be my festive socks. So they have a little simple cable pattern. Man, these would look better on sock blockers. I have partridge heel. Just kind of my regular 64 stitch count twisted rib at the top. I love them. This is a prototype of one of my colorways. They're also on Stellina because holiday socks. This is a prototype of the Bars in the Bowery Hotel, which is one of my favorite colorways. It's a tonal that's like wine and cranberry and like a deep pink, and it's delicious. So I have that. That's my half one. And then, oh, hello dog. And then there's the second one. So those are kind of just happening when they happen. Because it's cable, they're not like super, super mindless. So let me sit on you, dog. So I have to pay a little bit of attention on those, and sometimes even simple cables are a little too much for me. So there's that, and I swear it's the last pair of socks. So this is my new, speaking of festive socks, I love holiday socks. This is my new holiday colorway, which, if you're into that, is also available in my shop. Shameless self-promotion. And it's called, there it is caked up, it's called Baubles. And it's like a deep emeraldy green, and it's got speckles of red and pink, and it's got a lot of blue in it, and a little bit of yellow. So it's a super fun, ridiculous, over-the-top colorway because, again, only bright colors. So that's what it looks like knit up. I'm really enjoying this. I started this like a couple of days ago, and it's just exactly what I want. This is just a 2x2 rib because twisted rib was too much for me to think about. So really, really standard vanilla sock, but I'm hoping to have these actually done by Christmas. We shall see. So
I had Christmas socks planned.
Yeah, but you're growing another human.
Then we bought a house, and I decided to grow a human.
Yeah.
I didn't really decide to grow a human.
Well, you are growing a human. A human is being grown.
So,
I have yarn for an upcoming project.
Oh, yes.
So
yes, definitely show it.
I mentioned earlier that I needed a break from sweaters, so I would actually knit my mom's Christmas sweater because I decided I was knitting her sweater even though she really just wants cotton dishcloths. What? Oh, can I
Yes, please.
Okay, more pin. Like, I'm not like super duper into enamel pins, but when I find the ones I want them. So this one I actually stress ordered during the Kavanaugh hearings. I was stress shopping while watching C-SPAN, in addition to stress knitting. And I don't know if y'all can see it. This is from Rad Beautiful Things on Etsy. I think that's her Instagram handle. It's Rad Beautiful Things, and she makes awesome, super political, fabulous pins. So this one says, forget the glass ceilings, let's smash the capitalist patriarchy. And this one I got at a local place here in Atlanta, and I love it so much. I don't remember who the maker is, but it's always making things, which is very, very true. Okay. Also, oh my gosh, so much to talk about. Bag is mine. It has unicorns on it. Not surprising, because I'm really into unicorns, obviously. And rainbows on the inside. So this yarn is my hand-dyed yarn. I'm making the breathing space sweater. Oh my gosh, my head's cut off. This is like, okay, there we go, we're back. This is going to be for the breathing space sweater, and I cannot remember the designer's name.
Here.
Oh, but we have the power of the internet.
We do.
Okay, well while you're interneting, I'm gonna yarn. It's a really, really lovely striped sweater. The wonderful Katie from Inside Number 23 made it, and it was just so beautiful, and it was so, like, it is gonna look so fabulous on my mom. And so she will get cotton dishcloths, but she's also getting a sweater. It's not a surprise, she knows. I let her pick out the yarn. So the main color is going to be this blue-green, and it's coming up a little bit bluer on camera than it is.
Yes, it's more of a tealy green.
Yeah, it's definitely tealy. I had the problem with this photographing it for the shop too. Like, for some reason, like, blue greens just don't do well.
It's really hard. We just painted our kitchen cabinets teal, and I send people photos, and I'm like, oh, this isn't even.
This is not even what it looks like. So just imagine this is like a little more teal. This is Electric Miss Peacock, after the Clue character. So this is very much my mom. This is like one of her colors. And then I'm gonna leave the label in. The contrasting color is going to be this, which is Starry Night. Lots and lots of speckles, gold speckles and teal speckles and blue speckles. And this is on the merino cashmere nylon base. So this is Blue Face Luster, and so it'll be just there'll be some luxury in it because Mama deserves some luxury. So that is upcoming. Oh gosh.
You get to try that one.
Okay, here we go. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for this. The pattern is Breathing Space by Vera Valimaki. I think English speakers don't know what to do with umlauts. This one included. So anyway, it's lovely. It's just a lovely pattern. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's very casual, but flowy.
Lots of stripes, it's asymmetrical. Yeah. Like, she'll look so good in it. So
I had looked at knitting it for myself at one point. Okay, so before we totally dive into yarn stuff, I mean, this is diving into yarn stuff, but I just got my Christmas present early because Kathleen,
because I'm here,
can't wait.
Nope.
And she also didn't want to list it in her shop until I'd seen it.
I can't sell it until you know about it.
So, this is unnamed. I get the very special ability to name it, and I came up with a name, but it's way too long. I won't do it to her. So this one still needs some time, but it has some like really deep kind of wine speckles, and it's not a deep teal, it's kind of like a,
it's like a mint teal, it's like
an aqua-y teal.
It's such a new color.
Yeah.
It's like the most Kristyn yarn ever. Well, no, the second one is.
Both of these are very much my colors. I like these more subdued, deep colors on the blue and purple spectrum. And then I also really love neons and bright pinks and neon peach and bright fuchsia. Fuchsia is my favorite color. So this bad boy is called Unicorn Birthday Party, obviously.
Obviously.
And it has some really awesome, deep, well, it's coming across blue, but
it's purple.
It's deep purple colors, and then it has highlighter yellows and hot pink. It is definitely me. So I got those today, and I'm very excited about them. So those will surely be in her shop soon because I now know about them.
Okay, so this is like the official, are we ready for official shameless self-promotion?
Yes, officially we will move into just
shameless self-promotion.
Yes. I'm assuming you want to do standard.
I just kind of, like, I don't even know. I like literally just threw stuff into my bag when I was leaving the house this morning. This is not all that's in the shop. This is not like, I'm not doing like a brand new update. This is kind of just what I was like, I'm gonna bring this to show the world. So it really is just stuff. So can you hand me the?
Yes. Now that Susie's in the way, go lay down, Susie. Go on. We love you, but go.
Nope, keep going, dog.
My husband and I have 4 animals. We have 2 cats and 2 dogs. And my mother, well, she doesn't quite live with us, but she's with us a lot. And she has a dog as well. So we have quite the menagerie, and they all like to be in the middle of things. And we thought about locking them up and then decided, no, they're here. They're a part of our lives. Let them be. So this is...
Are you gonna...
This is what you should start with because we're just talking about it.
Yeah, so the cabled sock that I showed y'all was the prototype for this colorway. This is the Bars in the Bowery Hotel, which is also not showing up on camera quite like I want it to. It's a really deep, like, cranberry wine color. I love it so much.
I want to knit a sweater out of it so
bad. It's one of those, I did knit a sweater out of it, which I did not bring with me, but my Zweig is, by Caitlin Hunter, the main color is this, and it was just delightful. Kristyn was saying, and she's so right, this is the kind of color that looks good on everybody.
It does.
And it's like, it's good for this time of the year, but not only. So this is the Bars in the Bowery Hotel on my merino worsted base, which is 100% superwash merino, so really good for hats and things like that.
And sweaters.
I
want a thick, luxurious sweater out of this. That's what I want. I don't want a, rinky-dinky little featherweight thing. I want it to be
like meaty. Yeah. You want a meaty sweater? Yeah. Okay, here's more, now that I can show it properly, since it is in hand of the recipient. There's another skein somewhere. Is that it? No, that's cool. I don't know. Here is Unicorn Birthday Party on my Blue Face Luster sock base, which is my favorite base. This is just ridiculous. It's like the 1990s barfed all over. Like, I love it so much. I want to, like,
fantastic.
If I did not already have 3 sock whips, which I don't need, I would have totally cast another pair. But I kind of want it like in a shawl with brioche, like something.
It has to go in a Stephen West.
It really does.
I mean,
yeah, it's like made for Stephen West.
But
So that's Unicorn Birthday Party. Maybe that's why I like Stephen West pattern so much, is it really fits with my own, like,
I think you like Stephen West pattern so much because he's a genius and everyone likes Stephen West pattern so much. I go in to yarn shops with my Marled Magic on, and I mean, it's loud and it's funky and weird, and so as a 30-something-year-old, you might expect that when you run into 60 and 70-year-old women in yarn shops that they might not be as attracted to that loud shawl as you are, and inevitably they love it, and they ask me who it's by, and I say Stephen West, and they're like, well, no wonder I love it, because he is universally loved.
Universally adored. So this is Baubles, so I'm knitting a sock out of this. So these are all available in the shop if you're so inclined. We'll put a link. So this is the holiday colorway, but it's not only holiday. Like, it's holiday appropriate, but not exclusively so. I don't think anyone would be like, why are you wearing, I mean, I wear Christmas socks all year round, obviously, but I don't think it's not like over the top.
I have a Christmas, like, I don't know what, a thermal top.
It's the one you sent me a picture of the other day. Yes.
That I wear year round because it's so comfy and I'm unwilling to pack it up. So it says Merry and Bright, and you can find me in it on Easter
all year round
or Halloween.
Doesn't matter.
Wear it constantly.
I love it. This is 30A on merino worsted. My parents live on the Gulf Coast of Florida in the Panhandle, and 30A is the name of the beach road that runs along where they live. And right when I knew I was going to start dyeing yarn, I wanted yarn that looked like the Gulf of Mexico, and I think I nailed it, if I do say so myself. So I love this color. This might be my favorite. I know it's like between this and the bars in the Bowery Hotel. So
that color is very you.
It's very me. This is another like Republica. I really did just throw stuff in here.
This is my favorite.
This is like a Republica Unicornia.
The bars isn't that.
And you know, you named this.
I did.
And I'll tell you all the story of the name. So this is like probably, I mean, like if Republica Unicornia has a signature colorway, this is it. Okay, which is funny because I don't even like pink that much.
I do.
I know you do. So this is Unicorn Smoothie, which is like pink and purple and turquoise and yellow and fluorescent and ridiculous. And I accidentally dyed some, like when I was learning how to dye, I dyed a skein using this technique in these colors. And I started knitting a pair of socks, and Kristyn said, it looks like you put a unicorn in a blender, you should call it Unicorn Smoothie. And so Unicorn Smoothie was born, and so here it is. I will say it looks surprisingly not insane knit up. Like that's the...
It does.
Because the speckling is kind of distributed and it's a lot of light pink. I mean, look, it's not subtle.
And it makes absolutely beautiful socks.
Those socks are like some of my absolute favorites.
I mean, I really want to knit something out of it, and I haven't decided what, because I'm not a huge sock knitter, and I want it to be something fabulous because Unicorn Smoothie is fabulous.
Unicorn Smoothie.
And I'm not the least bit afraid to wear something crazy like that. But it does make really gorgeous socks. Like it's just perfect.
I have a skein that I stole. Like, this is the dangerous thing about being a yarn dyer, is like it's just automatic stash enhancement kind of whenever you want it, but also kind of not, because you're like, I need to like sell some of this stuff. But then also you kind of have like, you get to stash whatever you want. And so there was a skein from a dye lot that had gotten, it's more purple than pink, and that is in my like, it's, you know where it is? It is in my like bedside table drawer, because I like having yarn close to me. It's like not with the rest of my stash, it's there. I think I want to make a hat out of it. Like it's a really good, I also, like random thing, the base that I use is a really like plump, the 100%, I knit the baby flax out of it. And it's just this like really plump, it's awkward as I'm like fondling yarn skeins to talk about plump things. But anyway, I like worsted weight yarn, and especially this time of the year for hats and things. It's
I really
cozy.
like squishy, thick yarns like that. I mean, I love BFL, but I don't love it like you, because it doesn't have that.
It doesn't have that like squishy plump.
Yeah.
This is these are also on merino worsted. This one's upside down. I'm professional. This is Countess and Courtesan, which is named after a Decemberist song. I am a huge, ridiculous Decemberist fangirl, and so a lot of my colorways are named after their lyrics. So I love this one. I have to say, I have trouble with the dye lots on these. Like I dyed a bunch of this, and they're like really light speckled, and then apparently this day was like, I need more purple. So that's what these are. That's just kind of a sampling of the yarn. The Etsy shop is pretty well stocked at the moment. So if you are interested, you can go head on over and take a look.
And we will put a link in the down bar.
I have bags too.
She has
more shameless promotion. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go fast through this because okay, the smaller ones are the sock size bags, the triangle bags that we've been talking about, and the larger ones are they're called bigger project bags, and they are just that. All of them are fully interfaced, and they have zippers, and they have coordinating linings. I'm not going to open them all, but none of my linings are boring because I get bored. So that is why stuff looks the way that it does. So that one has scissors on it. That one has seals on it. I really like marine mammals is what I've learned, so you'll see a lot of like marine mammals. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was a kid. Whales, unicorn, and mermaid. It's a twofer. Unicorns. These remind me, do you remember Sandy Lion stickers?
Sandy Lion?
The brand was Sandy Lion, and they had the cutest stickers. They had like unicorns, and they were like on these like perforated
you mean like the little fuzzy ones? Yes.
And there was like a bear with a little heart, remember?
Yes.
That's what this reminds me of. Hello, children of the 90s.
So speaking of children of the 90s, I was watching a knitting podcast, I think, and someone mentioned something about Lisa Frank, and my almost 11-year-old was like, "What's Lisa Frank?" And I was like, "Just go look it up."
I feel like that's maybe the reason I'm as crazy as I am with color, is like early exposure to Lisa Frank. They used to make these, while we're on a tangent, they used to make these like sticker packs. And because I was really into stickers. So fabric is basically my grown-up sticker collection. It fulfills the same thing. And I had like, I was the queen of the stickers. And so the Lisa Frank used to sell these packets, and they were like little envelopes, and it was all mystery stuff. And I always wanted the unicorn stickers. This is a long...
I loved stickers when I was little, and bright colors, and I still love bright colors.
Still do. This is the Very Hungry Caterpillar bag.
So cute.
Speaking of childhood. Okay, I am going to show the interior on this one because I'm obsessed with it. This is, it's like folded weird. I'll show you the back so you can see the fabric. This is neon seashells. I think I had these shiny stickers as a child, but it's the inside I like so much. Look at that. It's got waves on it. So there's that one. More marine mammals. My favorite non-mythical creature is a manatee. So that one's got manatee. These are good for like shawls. I will say my Marled Magic outgrew mine, and I had to put it in a bigger bag, but for like normal size shawls, these are great. This one has hot pink snails.
Oh, I like this.
Oh my gosh, I love this. The Rifle Paper Company fabric is just, it kills me. This is the Alice in Wonderland from Rifle Paper Company, and I am going to show the interior of this one because it has metallic dots. Yeah, I love this fabric. This one has snuggly polar bears on it.
With birdie friends.
With little birdie friends. So where's little birdie friend? There's little birdie friend. Birdie friend. This is the seals. I just love their little heads. Kills me. Grown-up sticker collection. And then the scissors. See, this is like subdued for me. Ish.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
Thank you. Ish. It doesn't have a unicorn on it. So that's kind of just a sampling of what's going on in the shop.
Yeah, well, and you also do little,
I have more. Oh, Lord.
Little notions pouches. This one's mine.
Okay, more.
It has kitties and flowers because I love dogs too, but I'm also a crazy cat lady, and I love florals, so
yes,
she knows me well.
I love that fabric. This one has lemurs on it. Hot pink lemurs. Oh yeah, also all my bags have little unicorn tab things. That is not what they're called. Zipper pulls. They pull multiple functions. They're a zipper pull, but they're removable, so you can use them as a stitch marker or as a progress keeper, if that's your jam. There's one with rainbows on it.
The rainbow one is precious.
I like the rainbow one a lot. And here's the squirrels, my mustard squirrels. Ah! So cute. Okay, so I think that's the end of shameless self-promotion. Thank you for bearing with me if you're still here.
I believe it's the end of the podcast, which is great timing.
Are we about to run out of battery?
I need to use the restroom.
You made it.
I made it through a whole podcast without having to stop. It deserves congratulations. So we are going to try to do another podcast before the baby is born, if possible. I'm due in just before Christmas, but I'm planning to evict the baby a lot sooner than that if I have any say in it at all. So we will try and do this again maybe in 2 weeks, and we will make whatever improvements we need to make, like not cutting off my head. And just bear with us for the time being while we get our bearings and figure this whole thing out. But we are so glad that you were here with us today, and we hope you come back and see us again.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Come here.
There's Kitty. Nope, there's more Kitty. Oh, there's Kitty tail.
Lay down.
She's like, look, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.